Alright, welcome back to our channel, guys.
Hello!
Today we'll be talking about, this is episode 2 of our...
Episode 3.
3? Oh yeah, we did 2 already. What, why, when, how, and...
What in the world are we doing?
What in the world are we doing? Today we're going to be discussing how we got to this point.
Okay, so this all started March 20th-ish, 2022. We were on our 1-year anniversary trip, a cruise to the Bahamas for the weekend. I had just had the worst experience at work, and I was so freaking over it. And V was kind of feeling the same way. And so on this trip, we were talking about like, oh, I want to quit my job. You want to quit your job? Okay, we're going to quit our jobs. What is the plan? What are we doing? So this is the story of like how we got from there to here, which is actually backpacking Southeast Asia, and we had 3 months to plan. Okay, so that was the end of March, and we gave ourselves until July 1st, so April, May, June, to figure out how we were getting from owning a house, living in a house, having a cat, having bills, having a mortgage, having full-time jobs, to get rid of everything.
Yeah, it was definitely hard. That's for sure. This decision, when we made it, we stuck with it, and we followed through with everything that we said we would do. First plan was really figuring out when we would quit our jobs, because we needed the time to be able to plan out how we're gonna do it and what we're gonna do. What's up, fam?
I'm Montana.
I'm Vieran.
And we're bringing you Sugar in the Rawest. Make sure you like this video.
And subscribe.
For more love, life, and travel adventures.
What I decided, I think I quit a little bit earlier than you did. I stopped maybe in May, beginning of May.
So did I.
No, I think.
I quit May 6th.
Okay, so maybe I quit in April. Middle of April. I gave my maybe two weeks notice, first week of April. I can't remember exactly, but it was definitely way before you did. Like 2 weeks or so.
Well, I don't know that it was actually. It definitely was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I had planned on staying at work and just like chugging through and like pretending everything was okay and trying to get through another few weeks. Actually, I was going to try to get through another couple months maybe. I was going to try to work through the end of May, early June. And that just didn't happen that way. I really tried, but I was so miserable, I really just had to go for my mental health, and also planning this and getting everything together was a lot of work, like more than just like part-time on the weekends after work. It was a full-time job to get ready for this trip, and we only had 3 months to do it. So
honestly, what it felt like we were basically moving like from one house to another, because all the work we had to do in order for us to get to this point, you know what I mean? Like, we basically had to move everything out of our house into either the garage or the bedroom upstairs.
Yeah, so that brings us to point 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we quit our jobs. We saved up some money there while we could still work, and then we were like, okay, we're done, we're good, we'll survive. Let's just not do that anymore. We're not happy. So point 2, we have a mortgage, we have a house, we have bills to pay. How do we afford to do this trip without just completely wasting all of our money and like paying for places to stay here while we're traveling, and then also paying for a mortgage back home seemed like not a thing that we were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do?
Well, I mean, first that we had to do was, before any of this happened, we did test the market to see what our house would potentially rent for.
Yeah.
We started at a higher price than we initially got in the end, but that was a good way to start off. You know, we needed time. I think it was 3 months in advance. As soon as we talked about this, we put it in the market, we put it on Zillow. We had some interest, but nothing concrete. So I think then we reduced the price a bit, and then we had more offers and more showings.
Okay, so to answer that question, you love to skip ahead.
I do.
Okay, so we decided that we had to rent out our house. And in order to rent out the house, what do we have to do? We have to check the market. What can we get for our house? What does that mean our budget is going to be for this trip? Number 2, the process that goes into renting your house out is cleaning it up, taking all the photos, getting it posted. So V's a real estate agent, so we were able to do like all of this ourselves.
Yeah.
My friends Stein and Kate were actually visiting like in the midst of all of this, and they happened to have a drone because they were just on their own adventure. So we got like the drone pics of the house. We had, really good iPhones, took the photos ourselves. V knew exactly what to put like in a listing to make it look good, all the, demographics of the house, and also like how to write up a lease and do the comps to price it.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to do all of that to prep before we could even get a renter.
We had a great description, which you helped with. We went through Zillow, where you could also use their leases as well. They could apply on there, which made everything so much easier. That was a bonus. Thank you, Zillow. We finally did get some offers.
It came down to the wire.
It came down to the wire for sure. Like, oh damn, like what are we gonna do if we don't rent the house? I think we're gonna go down. We're gonna
like we
make
were
the trip
leaving
happen
at
regardless.
this point, regardless.
Because we already had paid for the tickets.
Yeah,
we got
now
our visas.
at this point it's June.
Yeah, it's June.
We're leaving July 1st.
So I'm like, man, listen. What I did, I got some for sale, not for sale, but for lease signs, and then put them on each corner around the neighborhood, busy intersections, and
at which point we got a lot more interest.
Oh, the interest was
locally.
like blowing up. I mean, my phone was going off like 24/7. This is when the housing price was going on too.
One of the difficulties of our specific situation was that we were renting out the house fully furnished, and for a very specific 6-month
Yes.
period. Like there was no wiggle room for shorter or longer or unfurnished or like a different 6 months. Like it was specifically
days, yeah.
July 1st through December 31st, fully furnished, take it or leave it. So that definitely cut down our demographic of who would be interested by a lot.
Yeah, but ideally what we wanted to do is, or a prime candidate would have been somebody who is coming to Florida to check out the area, to see if they would like it or not, and maybe do some house hunting. And that's what ended up happening, honestly. That's exactly what ended up happening.
Right in the nick of time.
Right in the nick of time. Luckily, it ended up working out. We finally got it leased. And then next came, I guess, the yard sales, right?
Yeah, okay, so then it comes time to like packing up our house, and this is all happening in the midst of getting it rented. So it's like, where do we put our personal stuff? Also, let's make some extra money because we have way too much stuff. And so we had the opportunity to get rid of, I think we got rid of like at least a third of the things in our house, like from
we got rid of a lot of
paintings
stuff.
to art supplies to furniture, I don't know, everything, tools, clothes, a ton of clothes, did Poshmark.
And you did a lot of stuff on Poshmark too.
Yeah, I did a lot of stuff on Poshmark. So we tried to get like all of these little pieces of cash that we possibly could before we left, and also take it as an opportunity to clean house. So what we ended up doing is we have a 4-2 with a detached garage, and we ended up blocking off the smallest bedroom upstairs and like locking it and keeping all of our things that needed to be inside and air conditioning in there. So like our clothes, some kitchen stuff, makeup, toiletries, things that we knew that we could use when we got back, paintings that we didn't want to leave in the garage, artwork. And then everything else went in boxes stacked along one side of the garage. Everything.
Yeah, you made a great point about that. I'm glad you did bring that up as far as like closing off one of the rooms for storage. Not only is it secure from all elements, but also would save us a lot of money. Because if you look at storage prices can run anywhere between $150 to $200, and we packed that room to the brim. I mean, it's packed. Yeah. It's like a 10 by 10 or maybe 10 by 12, 120 square feet.
It'll be quite a scavenger hunt to take things out.
Everything is labeled, so I mean, it'll be much easier. I mean, she's very organized, so I give props to her on organizing everything and where to put everything.
Big glow up for me.
Yeah.
That organization was not always the case.
For sure. Even when we were selling everything, like just thinking back now, like it was a lot of work, like taking everything out of the garage. I mean, I think we did everything in a weekend. Did we?
We did a huge yard sale.
Was it one weekend or we did 2 weekends?
We just did the one day.
Oh, we did.
And honestly, it really wasn't that successful.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
We ended up donating a ton of stuff, which also felt really nice.
We did, however, have one lady from that neighborhood who almost bought
who bought
30 things.
tons
Honestly,
of
so she really saved the day.
Shout out to you.
She saved the day. And then we
sold some stuff online too, like Facebook Marketplace and the bigger
while we were
items.
doing the yard sale, we were also posting stuff online, Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, Craigslist, I think as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff we did sell online, which was nice, and a lot of the stuff that we didn't sell, which we were going to get rid of anyways. What we ended up doing was just donating everything. I think it was Goodwill. What was the place that
Out of the Closet.
Out of the Closet, and was Salvation Army one of them?
Salvation Army.
Salvation Army, yeah. So we donated a ton of stuff to all of them.
Which was also great, and really was we had already decided to get rid of this stuff, so why were we going to pack it back into the house? No reason to do that. It was very cleansing to be able to get rid of things. And now, hint, hint, with our new plans that are coming up, we'll have to make a whole new video on that.
Yeah.
But we definitely can use the lack of stuff.
Oh my god, yeah.
With our new life
We're going to
plans.
have to do a re-cleanse again.
Yeah, we're going to have to get rid of more stuff. So glad that we just purged and donated and gave it to good causes. Okay, so that's the house.
Mm-hmm.
So then, what do we do with our cars?
Oh yeah.
We did not have any car payments, but did have car insurance. I had financed a car for the first time in my life, so I had car payments and insurance. And I wasn't going to pay car payments and insurance for a car for 6 months that I wasn't using.
Which was going to be $500 probably, honestly. Your car payment was $330 something, and
$500 a month. Why?
So we also give her this idea, hey, listen, you just bought this car, you financed it, inflation was high, used car sales were at all-time high.
Yeah.
So we ended up going with to CarMax, I believe. I got an offer from CarMax online, saying, wait, this is a great deal. It was a lot more than what she initially paid. So we actually go there. A lot of times they'll tell you in the fine print, hey, the offer could be less when you get there. So and we ended up taking it. They honored the full price that was given to us online, thankfully. So we sold the car, got rid of that, no more debt for her, and then we also got rid of insurance for
both of us.
Both of us.
You sold your car.
I didn't sell my car right away. I think it took a month
After
while
we
we were
left.
but I didn't have any car payments, so
And Dario sold it for you?
yeah, my brother and dad ended up selling it for me. I kept posting it online and communicating with people on Facebook Marketplace, and I just had to meet my brother and my dad, and then they sold it for me.
Yeah.
So luckily,
So
we got
that
rid
was
of that.
awesome. I wouldn't say I sold my car for more than I bought it for if you think about interest and the payments that I've been making. But
I broke even, I would say.
definitely broke even. So basically I drove my car for free for over a year and a half.
We'd have to do
awesome.
the math, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you probably would got some money back, honestly.
I don't know. But anyway, I didn't lose money, so that's
So
sweet.
that was one big thing that we wanted to do, you know what I mean? Kind of get rid of some debt as well before we went onto this journey, because we didn't want those extra expenses, while we were traveling. That would be a headache, you know what I mean? Constantly thinking about paying for your car or car insurance when you're not going to be using it, it's just going to be sitting there for no reason. So that was a smart decision, I think, looking back now. So when we get back, we'll just buy, let's say, a used car, and potentially maybe just have one car and just use that for the time being until we figure out what
Maybe I'll get an electric bicycle.
because
Everything is pretty close to us. We're within a 20-minute bike ride of anywhere we'd want to go, basically.
Yeah, before we even went to this, before we decided to do this, I was always thinking about getting a electric bike because they're so popular now. There's so many different models and makes out there now.
Yeah, but I think if we manage to share one car, then the money we'll save on getting a second car, we can warrant that expense.
Yeah, and we're gonna buy a car in cash. We're not gonna finance another car.
We don't need anything fancy anymore. I am so over that life. I do not need to be flashy. I do not need to impress anybody. I just need a car to get me from A to Z, save money, live our life.
Honda or Toyota. Those are two cars I think we'll be looking.
Yeah.
Or maybe a little truck. I think we really want a truck when we get back. So we do a lot of house projects, which we'll end up doing when we get back.
Yeah,
so
some landscaping.
We'll definitely need.
This trip has definitely taught us we need even less stuff than we thought we did before when we got rid of things.
Wanting to live that minimalist lifestyle.
Yeah, like we've been living out of a backpack and hotel rooms for 6 months, so we need very little space and very little things.
If we can do that, we can definitely
spend money on experiences.
Less space at our house, so for sure. What next, baby?
Okay, so we've gotten our house rented, we have gotten our car sold. Now we need to actually focus on the logistics, like where are we going and how are we getting there? So we have to pick a destination. We know we're going to Southeast Asia, but what country? At the time, COVID restrictions were still very real. So we had to think about like where was it going to be the easiest to get into, which actually shifted our focus from originally going to Thailand in the beginning to actually ending up in Vietnam because they had the easiest process at the time. So
no quarantine anywhere, so you could just go straight into the country without any problems. Thailand required a quarantine in a certain city.
They don't anymore, but it was a whole thing.
At that time, we needed to do a quarantine, so we ended up going to Vietnam first for a month, and then we ended up getting visas.
So we had to apply for the visas online, which is not a complicated process. And there's some great YouTube videos that'll walk you through the process, and maybe we'll make one too. So visa, getting our flight. So for our flights, we used points.
We used points. I had some points with Chase that I used, and then we had to maybe spend a couple $100 more of our own money to get the flights from Tampa to Da Nang. We flew to Da Nang,
Vietnam. So that's the most expensive part. We had to decide what we were taking. 6 months worth of everything we need in a backpack. So I always think that part's really fun. So we have a whole packing video, several packing videos you can check out to see like what we decided to actually take in the end. So like the whole packing for 6 months is like a very stressful situation because you have to be so specific about what you're bringing. So that was the whole thing. We already had our backpacks. We've had our Osprey Farpoints for years.
Since 2016. I remember when I bought mine before we went to Europe trip.
Yeah, and we love them. Also our cat.
Oh yeah, where we were going to put Leonella, who was going to take care of her.
Yeah. So that was a big stressor. It's difficult because 6 months is a long time. Yeah. I think most everyone that we know already has a pet, and the problem with Leonella is that she's an only child. So putting her in a multiple pet household was a whole other thing. That was like, we really don't want to put her in a position where she's going to be really uncomfortable, or she's going to act out, and then like whoever she's with has to deal with that. We also really didn't want to put her with a stranger for 6 months. Like we felt more comfortable having her with someone that we know. And so one of the options, I had a friend, Colleen and Dallas, shout out to you guys, offered to take Leonella, but they have a dog. So I was a little concerned with that, and they lived in a completely different state. And then also my parents kind of were guilted into being a backup offer.
Well, they also have cats.
They have 3 cats and a dog. So that was not a favorite option, also in a faraway state. So we were trying to look closer to home, and
my sister, thank you, Tony. You've been doing great.
Thank you, Tony and Brian and Liam.
We owe you a lot. Whatever you want, just let us know.
Whatever you want.
But luckily she took that on, and Leonella's been loving staying there.
Yeah.
I think they've also kind of like fell in love with her, especially Brian. I've seen those videos, Brian. It seems like you really do love her now, and we do want her back when we get back. We cannot keep her, man.
So basically, we went over there and we set up the house for them, like with all of her stuff to make sure everything was in place. And every month or whenever they need it, we order on Amazon her food and her litter or whatever she needs and have it sent to them. So we're obviously covering all expenses when it comes to that. And if there's any damage to the house, we'll cover that when we get back as well.
Which there was
maybe
in the
beginning.
New couch. Sorry, Tony.
We got really lucky with that. That's not going to be the case for everyone trying to find a home for their animal for 6 months. And with a dog, it would have been much more difficult. And this is definitely something that we can think about going forward as we continue to travel and live this lifestyle. We definitely have some ideas, and none of them include getting rid of Leonella, so don't even think that for a second. Right. So it's when you have a pet, it makes things more difficult to travel. It's just a fact, but it does not make it impossible. So to surmise, we we rented out our house, sold a bunch of shit, sold our cars, found a house for our kitten for the time being, figured out where we were going to go, applied for visa, bought flight tickets through our credit card points to save money. And so basically through all of this, we were able to get rid of our bills that we had back home and actually get a little bit of income on top of that. V is also still managing some other Airbnbs back home via the internet. So we do have income coming in while we travel. And
we also did have some income from Facebook. We got monetized, but then again,
yeah, that's another story.
that's another
We'll
story.
make a video for that too. Facebook, I'm coming for ya. But yeah, so how did we do it? We blew everything up and were determined and did not give up and basically just did whatever it took to make this trip happen, even if it took some sacrifices and
Definitely took a lot of sacrifices.
a lot of stress.
A lot of stress, yeah. Like,
had a lot of faith that things were just going to work out because in 3 months, that's not a lot of time to make all that happen.
oh, no, some people will be like, "Are you insane?
Yeah,
You're doing
a
that?"
lot
Like,
of people did say that.
Yeah, but listen, hey, we're here. It's almost over. Everything's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Everything's worked out great, thank God. And looking forward to more of these adventures in the future, you know.